Are the Lions and Commanders primed to regress in 2025? We're going to break that down and a whole lot more today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. This episode is brought to you by the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Turn any TV into your Xbox, no console needed. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to learn more.
Joe, I don't know if you saw this, but the Conclave put out some white smoke this week, and it was announced that Abdul Carter has picked his number.
We're so thrilled for the saga to be over. Do you think he intentionally picked? It's 51.
So it's a mix of 56 and 11.
Is that what he did? Are we giving him credit for that being the path he took?
I would not be surprised.
When you think 51 in the National Football League, what's like word association, number association? 51. Who's the name?
Does Will Anderson wear 51?
I don't think he does. I think he wears a single digit, doesn't he?
He wears 51.
Okay, well done.
He wears 51.
Well done.
I think of Will Anderson when I think of 51.
I think that was a good poll by you. I think of Takeo Spikes.
It's a good call.
That's
I could not tell you the last Dolphins player to wear number 51.
Blake Ferguson, did he wear 51?
No.
No?
He was in the 40s, I think.
Oh.
Can't remember. I didn't see him all year last year on the non-football injury list. I've seen him juggle practice squad long snappers every 3 weeks for the last 3 months of the season.
The craziest story in the NFL that nobody's talking about. Just never seen anything like what happened with Blake and rotating practice squad snappers. And then
you're just sitting here waiting for a back-breaking special team snap blunder. It's like, okay, here we go. We ran out of our 3 practice squad elevations. They're not burning a second roster spot on a second long snapper while Blake's on non-football injury list. So let's find out what happens.
Well, hopefully somebody can get the snapping duties handled in South Beach. All right, Takes on Takes, the weekly episode where we give our takes on your takes, and we got some fun stuff lined up. And this first one, we got it from 2 different angles. One from Jake. Jake said that the Lions will regress in 2025 because of the turnover at OC and DC. Jim takes it a step further. He says the Lions and Commanders regress and miss the playoffs in 2025. So
let's them regress and
the
playoffs.
Guys are coming in hot on these NFC teams, Lions and Commanders. 12-5 Commanders that got to the NFC Championship game in year 1 of Daniels and Quinn, and then the 15-2 Lions, which I guess their season was ended by the Commanders in very convincing fashion. But of course, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, no longer in the mix. What's in the cards for these teams?
So this is interesting. I think part of the conversation about regression for Detroit is a lot easier because I think you've got 2 other teams in that division that are hotly nipping on their heels, right? Where Minnesota won 14 last year, Green Bay won 11. I think Green Bay has a chance to be a better football team this year than they were last year, right? Mm-hmm. Minnesota, we'll see, but even if there is some level of regression there, they went through nowhere near the attrition that Detroit went through with the coaching staff. And I look at Detroit and the Aiden Hutchinson return and kind of the second edge spots up in the air right now. We talked about questions yesterday that came up, the Ali McNeil injury, kind of their front, some questions, right? Mm-hmm. And then obviously Ben Johnson, how big of a role did he have in kind of being the maestro that pulls everything together on both sides of the ball? So I think it's fair to speculate and question. And I don't think it's outside of any realm of possibility that, like, Detroit wins 10 games and then would be 3rd in the North. Like, is that fair to say?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to win 15 games.
Yeah.
I think it's unlikely that any team wins 15 games. So it's less about Detroit other than it's hard to win 15 games 2 years in a row.
So I want to keep it first about the outlook of the conference. instead of sitting here and getting into like, well, how many games is Detroit going to win?
Right. I agree.
So I don't think it's outlandish for them to be third in the North. And then you're looking at Dallas is probably going to bounce back to some degree. Washington exists. Philadelphia exists. Tampa in the South. And then, the Rams won that division last year. The Seahawks won 10 games. Now they turned the whole offense inside out.
Good.
Could they win 10 games again? Like that's part of the pathway for Detroit missing the playoffs. But I think the fact that this take has combined both Washington and Detroit, I think now kind of leaves it too open for both of them to miss. Because I think one of them missing is going to be dependent on the success of the other.
For me with Detroit, I don't think they're going to win 15 games. And again, they could have kept every single player and coach, and I probably wouldn't predict them to win 15 games again. I do agree that, of course, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson were a big part of the identity of that team. And maybe it's just because I watched a lot of the Lions, but I also felt like their stubbornness got in the way of some of their success as well, where Aaron Glenn was very committed to base defense and man coverage, and even to a fault where I thought it got him in trouble at times. And then, Ben Johnson, really, really good offensive mind, but some of his eagerness to work deep throws down the field and short yardage, I thought was not very efficient offense at times. And so I think there's room for them to grow. I'm not making light. I love both of the hires of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, and I'm not trying to minimize their departures. But I think that, maybe they can grow and evolve from some of what I guess you're kind of clinging to. All right, what was the frustrating components of what they were when they were there? And I do think, they got a lot of questions with that defensive line right now. For Washington,
can I get a quick timeout in here real quick?
Course.
I'm sorry. Just to finish Detroit. Have you seen their road schedule next year?
I haven't. I'm sure it's daunting. It's a first place schedule.
It's Chicago, right? Minnesota and Green Bay. Get both those teams home and away. Washington in Washington. Philadelphia in Philadelphia. Baltimore in Baltimore. Kansas City in Kansas City. LA Rams in LA.
Wow.
And at Cincinnati.
Probably not going to be 8-0 on the road again this year.
They play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 8. Is that correct? 8 road games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Okay, so draft dudes do math. They play 7 of 9 road games against teams that won double-digit games last year. And one team that had a losing record, it was Chicago.
Division road game.
It'll
be a tough path.
Now they get Cleveland, New York, Pittsburgh, and Dallas are 4 of their home games outside of the division. And then Tampa's the other one. You like getting Tampa at home, but holy smokes, that road schedule is brutal.
Washington, the 12-5 NFC Championship. I think they're going to be a good team. I think they're better. Their talent's better this year, and a lot of young players are going to be, still developing. So, will they go 12-5 and make the NFC Championship game? I'm not going to promise you that, but I'll stop short of saying it's not a playoff team. I think Jaden Daniels kind of told us a lot about who he is, and I'd be excited if I were a Commanders fan about getting back to the postseason this year. Let's sneak this one in. Colin says, if Randall Cunningham were playing today, he would be a perennial All-Pro and certain Hall of Famer. Teams of his era had no idea how to scheme for and protect a mobile quarterback of his nature.
That's probably factual to some degree, right? A guy who's ahead of his time. I certainly think the game today would be much more friendly to the way that Randall played.
Yeah.
Randall took a lot of sacks because they didn't lean into his strengths the way that I think you see some teams do now. So what was the accolades criteria?
Perennial All-Pro and certain Hall of Famer.
I don't know about perennial All-Pro. How many perennial All-Pro quarterbacks are there?
There's only one. Well, I guess first team All-Pro, there's only one, right? In each conference. So, yeah, I think it's fair to say that Randall Cunningham would be a much more revered player and successful player in this era of football compared to then, because of the way the game has evolved in rules and scheme. So, yeah, I think that's a fair angle.
If you're a young football fan, I know we got to get to break. If you're a young football fan, go watch, was it 98 Vikings?
Yeah.
Chris Carter, Randy Moss, Randall Cunningham. Robert Smith. Go watch some of that offense highlights on YouTube today. It'll make your day.
Different kind of stuff. Okay, we got a lot to get to, including did the Giants make a big mistake in signing Russell Wilson? We'll consider that and more here on the other side of it. Folks, be sure to stick with us. Did you know your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices, no console required. Just grab your paired controller, subscribe or sign into Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with EA Play included, and you're ready to go. You can dive into hundreds of premium titles, including EA Sports College Football 25 and Call of Duty, as easily as you stream your favorite shows. I mean, have you ever thought how cool it would be to just be able to play your favorite Xbox games in any room in your house without needing a console in every room? Or like when you're on the road, being able to game on the road without having to pack up the Xbox. That's what you can get with the Fire TV 4K stick. So head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller required. Available on select devices, including Fire TV Stick 4K 2nd Gen, Fire TV 4K Max 1st and 2nd Gen, and Fire TV Cube 3rd Gen.
Want to raise your glass and pour one out for Belichick's girlfriend getting banned, allegedly, from the UNC football facilities? I don't know if you saw that this morning.
Banned?
Pablo Torre. Sources tell Pablo Torre Bill Belichick's girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, is now banned from UNC's football facility. Ooh, weird.
Okay.
Weird.
Okay. Hashtag weird. All right.
Stupid story that everybody's and the whole thing is just the obsession about it kills me. But it's just saw that come across the timeline and had another chuckle like, oh no, heaven forbid we stay out of the headlines for a week, right? And we don't hear about Belichick's girlfriend.
So anti-Bill too. It's like, it's not any attention he wants, but like at the same time, you kind of sign up for this with how public the relationship appears to be. And well, there's an age discrepancy that I have people curious. So Casey says the Giants made a massive mistake by signing Russell Wilson. Jameis Winston is the prototype mentor, hype man, spot starter to help develop a rookie quarterback. Adding Russ to the mix will muddy up the room and potentially slow down Jackson Dart's learning curve.
Look, what we just did this on Tuesday?
Yeah.
I think you and I would probably feel a lot better about the Giants quarterback room situation for the first round pick and more that they have invested in Jackson Dart if Russell Wilson wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
It's fair.
I won't speak for you, but we kind of said that the quiet part out loud. You didn't know you were going to get Jackson if you weren't willing to take him at 3. And if you're coaching for your jobs, you can't roll into the draft with Jameis Winston and Tommy DeVito and be like, hey, if we get Jackson, if it works out for the trade value, then great. Right?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like you can't. And look, I recently watched Jameis because I went back and watched Elijah Moore tape. He's rough, man. He's rough as hell. It's the same mistakes he always makes. Decision making, crazy. No, he makes crazy bad decisions. All of that's true, right? There's highs. There are absolutely highs. There's charisma. There's things that you love about Jameis, but man, you're signing up for a lot of frustration.
What game was it that he just completely threw away last year? Was it the Denver game?
Yeah, he had several. It's not changing.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot like that and throw sand on. Yeah, it was so he played. Denver beat Cleveland 41-32 on December 2nd. This was a night game. It was a Monday night football game. And the Browns were up with 3 minutes left in the game, 32-31. Despite the fact that Jameis had already thrown a 71-yard pick six to Nick Bonito. So the Broncos kicked a field goal, and Jameis throws his second pick six of the game on just Bozo McGee play 101 to Jaquan McMillan for 44 yards. When they only needed a field goal, there was more than 2 minutes, there was more than a minute and a half left in the game. And just mind-meltingly bad, like, oh no, what are you doing? Yep. Interception to turn what could have been a game-winning drive into a 9-point loss. Sorry.
Wow. So we can understand why he's there, but in hindsight, yeah, you wish he wasn't. And maybe some team starter goes down and they unload Russell Wilson and this takes care of itself.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be a great outcome for the Giants.
Charlie has this. He says, don't draft more than your team can reasonably roster. Trade up or down to get as many picks as high as you can keep. Any more is a betting on early eval of a weird offseason, and capital could be better spent on traits. Cutting a draft pick is buying an opponent a lottery ticket. I disagree passionately with this.
There's a part of me that kind of buys in on this, but there's a part of me that doesn't, because it's. Well, let me let you go. You vehemently disagree.
Well, I think injuries in the NFL are inevitable. So you can look at something right now and be like, yeah, I don't see the path to the roster. One injury changes it. And the chances of injuries in the NFL are 100%. And I think you fall into smartest guy in the room syndrome. Listen to Eric DaCosta. I want as many at-bats. I don't know which players are ultimately going to be good or not. Give me as many chances as possible to be right. And if you have to cut a draft pick, you have to cut a draft pick. But the reality is, you don't realize how many draft picks get cut and then signed to other teams. It's a very, very, very small percentage. Like, we're worried about something that's very, very small. And so give yourself the most deep competitive team you possibly can and sort it out. It's a great problem to have. It's not a problem to cut a draft pick. It means that your team was good and loaded and you couldn't roster them.
You know how many draft picks the Ravens have made in the last 6 years?
80.
It's not quite that much, but you're on the right track. It's 55. 55 draft picks. Here are some of the late round. What do you want to qualify late round picks as? Round 5 or later?
Yeah.
Here's some of the late round picks that Baltimore has made in the last 6 years. They got Broderick, Washington, James Prochet, and Geno Stone in 2020, 5th round or later, all of them, right? And these would be, in theory, the picks that you would be giving away if you're saying, we're only going to project we have probably 7, 8 roster spots for the 53 this year. So let's get aggressive and go get guys, and let's trade the late round picks because statistically speaking, the hit rate's going to be lower. Is that fair to kind of quantify like the threshold here of why you'd be getting rid of picks and where you'd be most likely to be keen to not care about making a pick? The 2022 year was the year they picked 18 times in the 4th round by itself. 2023, Andrew Voorhees, I think, is a great dice roll in round 7 after he got hurt in the combine. 2024, let's see, was TJ Tampa at corner. This year, Aeneas Peebles, I think we like the value of. Carson Vinson. I like Robert Longerbeam. Even if you hit, 3 names there? I mean, their 4th round track record's outstanding, where Ben Bredesen has turned into a starting guard in Tampa Bay. You had Charlie Kolar, Isaiah Likely, 2 tight ends in the 4th round in 22, Demarion Williams at corner. Tavius Robinson in the edge has been a meaningful player. Tez Walker, this year's 4th round pick, Teddy Buchanan, I think can go a little bit. So I agree with the DaCosta element of it, but I do feel like there is some opportunity cost if you constantly pick like 11, 12 times every year.
Yeah. It's going to change.
Because you're not. So maybe cyclically, like, can we average 20 picks every 2 years? And can like that way, like, I'm not picking 12 times every single year and knowing I'm just going to have guys that I pick that aren't going to make my practice squad because somebody else is going to claim them.
All right. Yeah. We disagree with the take. And it is cyclical. There's probably years where you can roster more or less. But I wouldn't just, you pigeonhole you're like that. You're missing at-bats that you need to hit home runs, man. So I disagree with it. All right. We got
Ben Powers, Kenny Young, Bradley Bozeman, Zach Sealer, Deshaun Elliott, all for day 3 picks in Baltimore before 2020. 1 draft class, Jermaine Illuminor, Chuck Clark, Matt Judon.
Hate to miss on that.
Zadarius Smith, Darren Waller. All right, I'm done. All right.
That's
all Baltimore.
I'm going to have to be selective the rest of the way. We have a lot of good takes to get to.
Yeah.
We'll do that here in just a moment. Be sure to stick with us. As a small business owner, your work doesn't end when the clock hits 5. Your business is always on your mind, which means when it's time to hire, you need a partner that works just as hard as you do. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in. When you clock out, LinkedIn clocks in. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates all in one place. You can post your job using LinkedIn's new feature that actually helps you write job descriptions and then quickly get it in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. And here's a pro tip. Add the hashtag hiring frame to your profile picture to double your reach to get those qualified candidates. No wonder 72% of businesses say that LinkedIn helps them find high-quality hires. So post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. The Weekly Huddle says, this is nuts to me. The best popcorn is served at bar and restaurants. The worst is movie theater popcorn. Give me extra salt over an abundance of butter any day of the week. And then the Huddle actually ranks the best popcorn, which is number 1, bar, restaurant, free popcorn. 2 is at-home microwave popcorn, and 3 is movie theater popcorn. Kyle, I've never been to a restaurant that served popcorn.
Never been to a food establishment that served popcorn.
Never. It's never happened in my whole life.
I've had peanuts. Right, you go to like the steakhouses or whatever, and they got the big barrels. What's that? Is it Texas Roadhouse?
I think so. Yeah,
it's got literally
Logan's
a barrel
has that.
Of germs that you could stick your hand into
just
and
do it anyways. Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'll sit here and
popcorn.
Throw the shells on the floor, but yeah, popcorn is
popcorn at a restaurant.
Tell me where to find it. I'll go. I'll try it.
What?
And not even like, oh, you're waiting to be seated popcorn. Like serve you popcorn.
It says free. He designates free popcorn.
Tell us where to find it.
Yeah,
I don't believe that it's a real thing. Right?
He came into the take thinking, you know what? Of course,
the guys are going to recognize
this is all over the place.
Yeah, no, it's not. I don't think it is.
All right. Next one here comes from Dylan, who says, asking a retired player to unretire their jersey is very disrespectful. Yes. Warren Moon doing it for Cam Ward can be somewhat justified since they are no longer the Houston Oilers. But 99% of cases, it is disrespectful.
I mean, and if the vet volunteers it, that's one thing. But to go to, like, what's a number that Buffalo has retired?
12.
Okay, so Maxwell Hairston calls up Jim Kelly and says, hey, man, really love what you did for the team, but I really dig. I think I look great in 12. What do you think? I'd hang up the phone. Like, I wouldn't say anything at all. I'd just be like, no. But
I heard a great story on this. Let me tell you this story.
Okay.
So I have Bill's squad, and the player that's on there with us is Jerry Ostrowski. Was a 102 game starter for the Bills, and he played his college football at Tulsa, and he's a Tulsa Hall of Famer, and his jersey number is retired. Well, his son Owen, scholarship athlete at Tulsa, to play football. You know, he's going to his dad's alma mater. He goes up to his dad ahead of his freshman season and says, "Dad, you know, would you be okay if I wore your number 55?" And Jerry said, "Hell no." he said,
"Make your own legacy, right?"
Well, he goes, well, I mean, you got to earn it. So if you're the type of player that I think would be worthy of it, I would make an exception for a family member, but you're not getting it right now. And then ahead of his senior season, he came to him and said, "Look, if you want to wear it for this year, you know, that I'd be honored. He proved himself as a good player, et cetera, et cetera." But
that's cool. Yeah.
Come on now. If you're for your son, you know what I mean? Like, and I get it from Jerry's perspective, but yeah. I think that speaks to the meaning of something like that. So yeah, I'm with it. Like, get out of here with these retired numbers and going after them. Zach says that 10 teams will have rookie running backs lead their team in rushing touchdowns, and even gives us the name. All Genty, right. Ashton Genty.
Okay, probably.
O'Marion Hampton.
Maybe.
You think Najee might lead the team in?
I think there's enough variance there where.
So maybe. Or now you're not firm.
I don't think it's a slam dunk. I mean, they're paying Najee this year. You might as well do what Pittsburgh did for 4 years.
I hope so. As a dynasty owner of Najee Harris, where the value
on him in the ground, baby.
Let's do it, baby. Let's run him. Cleveland, Quinshon Judkins, or Dylan Sampson. I think that's fair, right?
Yeah, between the two, I think that you get a pretty good success opportunity there.
Travion Henderson. Probably not, right? Ramondre Stevenson's still there. They just paid him.
What a weird saga Ramondre Stevenson's turned into.
100%, yeah. So maybe.
The fact that we have 2 babies already kind of tells me I don't think we're going to get
there's a long list here. Caleb Johnson.
Maybe.
Jalen Warren's there, right?
Yeah.
This one we could probably agree on. RJ Harvey. Maybe Bo Nix leads that team in rushing touchdowns.
Would not surprise me.
Another maybe.
Cut it loose, Bo. I just saw that somebody just pulled the Bo Nix chicken with his head cut off touchdown pass he threw versus LSU a few years ago. I don't know if you know what I'm referring to with that, but it's the one where he breaks the pocket and rolls right, makes 3 guys miss, doubles and peels another 20 yards back, gets all the way over to the opposing sideline, dekes 4 guys, is falling down, and just flicks the wrist out for a touchdown pass. The guy can scoot.
He can
You
boogie.
don't do that, but it's just the fun.
He can boogie. Bashal Tootin, that's aggressive. With Jacksonville. ETN Bigsby.
Probably not.
Maffa? Who's this Maffa?
Phil Maffa from Clemson.
What teams he played for?
He got drafted like 7th round.
Zach thinks this guy's leading that team in rushing touchdowns. What team is it?
Dallas.
Okay. This guy's going to lead the team in rushing touchdowns?
No, he's not.
And then he said 2 out of 4. The next one, DJ Giddens.
Okay. In Indy? We're done here.
Devin Neal, Woody Marks.
We're done here.
10. Zach, brother, spike that ball. Be with the Cam Scatabo guy.
Yep. You know who I noticed was not mentioned in this conversation?
You know, he in Zach's defense, he actually had a follow-up tweet that said, I did not include Cam Scatabo. So
he can join us in kissing Scatabooty if ends up kicking butt.
Paul says using void years as a mechanism for bad cap management shouldn't be allowed now that the COVID year is in the rearview mirror. Teams like the Saints have kicked the can down the road for too long. Get rid of void years.
I am interested to see how long this loophole mechanism is allowed to be a thing.
Well, as long as the cap goes up, I don't know why it would stop.
It's kind of against the spirit of the cap, though, is it not?
100%. It's
right.
A good competitive edge, but
so
it wasn't even a thing until the COVID year. I never heard of this.
Who does it? I guess the question is, who does it hurt?
The teams that choose to. And I still think it's more of like just like anything in the world. There's things that are bad for you, right? And you can legislate things away from you, or people will have to make the right choices for themselves. And so there's a lot of teams that use void years and do it in a responsible way, selectively. There's others that are just trying to keep their head above water. And the real problem with the Saints isn't the use of void years. It's a lack of honesty about what they have.
Yeah.
And where they're going. They won't reset. They won't do it. So like protect them from themselves, or they could just do the smart right thing and get this thing going at a responsible way.
Did you see Houston gave Jaden Higgins fully guaranteed rookie contract?
2nd round pick, yeah.
Yeah. First time in NFL history. And the reason I bring that up is we're talking about precedent and all that kind of stuff. The Dolphins just announced while we were recording, they've signed 7 of their 8 draft picks. The one they did not was Jonas Savaiinea.
2nd round pick. He wants a guaranteed deal, don't he?
He went three picks after Jaden Higgins.
Yeah. We know what that's about.
So precedent. How long until we see all 2nd round contracts? Here's the take. Within 3 years, all 2nd round rookie contracts will be fully guaranteed.
I think that's probably going to happen, right?
I would assume so.
Maybe the Bengals will be like, nah, not our. They'll be trading out. Finally, the Bengals are trading out of the second
round every year.
Right, there's the cause and effect.
So yeah, I thought that was we're talking team management economics. Thought that was interesting that the Higgins deal came through yesterday. First fully guaranteed 4-year, $11.7 million contract. And the first domino has already fallen where a team has signed their entire rookie draft class this morning, with the exception of the second round pick who went 3 picks out.
Would the argument, if you wanted to push back, be, well, the Texans, they traded out of the first. Didn't they trade out of the first round? I'm not dreaming here, right? That happened.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call out.
Right.
They did. They traded out with, were they the team that traded out with the Giants? No, they traded out with Atlanta.
No, the Rams traded out with
the Giants.
So it was the Giants. Yeah.
I think it was pick 34.
So maybe that's like the big, well, that's a unique
first pick.
Yeah.
We already wrote in the franchise tag at year 5 for his 5th-year option, right? Like,
right. I'm
anything
good.
Else?
No, we're good.
We're good.
So
that's going to do it for us here today on Takes on Takes. Locked on NFL Scouting. You provide the takes. We give our takes on your takes. Apologies if we did not get to your take. I thought we had like exceptionally thought-provoking early topics.
Yeah, we had some meaty stuff. Yeah, so we had to get choosy down the stretch.
Yeah, so it's kudos to all of the takes that were given. We hope you will bring your takes again next week if we didn't get to them. Run it back. And we will see you guys again on Monday, react to whatever comes this weekend, and we start our roster assessments and looking at all 32 teams with a deep dive. So over the next 8 weeks, your team is going to have their moment in the sun with us as we review your roster as it currently stands going into 2025. Kyle Krabs, Joe Marino. That's it for us today. We're out of here. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you all again soon.